To avenge her daughter, the mother tightly wrapped her friend's hands in plastic wrap. Then, she poured plaster powder straight into her nostrils. As the woman struggled, Jimin pinned her down, one hand clamped around her throat, silencing every breath. But even then, the beautician outside heard something. She put down her chopsticks and slowly walked toward the room. Jimin, sharp as ever, sensed the danger. Just as the door creaked open, she returned to her calm disguise, a face mask on. The next second, a sharp scream tore through the next room. Jimin quietly sat her down, and in that moment, her heart was filled with cold satisfaction. It all started 3 months ago. Jimin was on the way to pick up her daughter, but she got into a minor car accident. Not wanting to waste time, she asked her best friend to help instead. But her friend, eager for a date with her boyfriend, left the little girl alone by the roadside. That's when a predator spotted her. The child was taken and assaulted. She was later found in a pile of garbage, with no signs of life. But what was even more devastating, the culprit was arrested, but used his powerful family's influence and a corrupt lawyer's connections to produce a fake psychiatric report. He avoided the death penalty. The parents couldn't accept it. The mother was on the verge of collapse. If the law wouldn't speak for her daughter, then she would. With her own hands, she swore to make everyone pay. Those who directly or indirectly led to her child's unjust death, to avoid exposing her husband, police officers, and to keep him out of what was coming. Jimin made up an excuse and filed for divorce immediately. She then changed jobs, taking one that gave her better access to her enemies. But when it came to actually killing, for someone as gentle as Jimin, the fear buried deep inside her kept her from making the first move. Finally broke Jimin's restraints. That day, she went to the mall. She ran into her daughter's former teacher. The teacher was scolding a young girl, cursing non-stop, slapping her repeatedly. The girl was so humiliated, she couldn't even lift her head. The teacher dragged the girl into the restroom. The door shut tight. Then came the sounds of beating. Passers-by walked by, all pretending not to see. The girl curled up in a corner, shaking in fear. Her screams echoed in Jimin's mind. She saw her daughter all over again. Her daughter had been humiliated and beaten too. If she hadn't feared upsetting her child, she wouldn't have asked her friend to pick her up from school. Her daughter wouldn't have died. The anger burned hotter. When the teacher was alone in the stall, Jimin gently washed the girl's face. She whispered for her to stay quiet, then let her out safely. Once sure no one else was inside, Jimin dragged a "Do Not Enter" sign and hung it on the door. She charged inside, kicking the lock off before the teacher could react. Jimin stabbed her down scenes of times. Only when the teacher stopped moving did Jimin finally stop. This murder marked the beginning of her daughter's bloody revenge. Jimin went straight to her friend's boyfriend. After all, he was the one who suggested leaving her daughter on the roadside. That decision led to the tragedy. The man was shameless, married, yet still keeping Jimin's friend as his mistress, using luxury cars as a pretext. Jimin approached the wealthy man. A few subtle hints were enough to lure him in. After a night of food and drinks, he eagerly took Jimin to his private apartment, a secret meeting place. As soon as they entered, he wanted to get straight to business. Jimin played along, teasing and provoking him. Then she took out a bottle and offered him a hangover cure. He drank it without hesitation. Moments later, he began coughing up blood. That cure had been sought for poison. As it collapsed before her, she pulled out a tape, playing her daughter's sweet voice to the sound of her daughter's beautiful singing. The man died. Finally, Jimin placed a Princess Aurora sticker in a tiny veil on his forehead. The next target of revenge was the shop owner, who had kicked Jimin's daughter out to meet her lover. After careful surveillance, Jimin discovered that every week, at a fixed time, the woman went to a high-end beauty salon for treatments. So Jimin arrived early, posing as a customer next to the owner's usual private room, waiting silently for the right moment. Sure enough, after the staff applied a plaster mask on the owner, she went downstairs to eat. The owner was left alone in the room. Jimin knew the chance had come. She put on gloves, mixed water with plaster, and walked over to the bed. The owner lay with her eyes closed, thinking the staff had returned, not suspecting anything. But Jimin was ready. She quickly tied the owner's hands, pinning her down. Then, a whole basin of plaster was poured into the owner's nose, then gripped her throat tightly. After a few desperate struggles, the owner stopped breathing. Jimin immediately returned to her room, pretending nothing had happened. When the staff finished eating and came back, they found the owner suffocated to death. Despite the report, police found no evidence at the scene. But Jimin's ex-husband, a cop, noticed something unusual. A Princess Aurora cartoon sticker was stuck on the floor corner and under the owner's foot. This was the third murder in 3 days, stirring public outrage. The police couldn't ignore it anymore, especially since one victim was a well-known wealthy businessman. The police high command immediately set up a special investigation team. At the same time, the police received another call. A body was found by the roadside near a small forest outside the city. The victim, a man nicknamed Fatty, owned a barbecue restaurant. He was the driver who, a year ago, recklessly drove the wrong way, crashing into Jimin's car. He had also harassed and insulted her, causing her to miss picking up her daughter. This time, Jimin pretended to be a naive rural girl seeking work in the city. The shameless Fatty took the bait, dragging Jimin's car into the forest. Just as he thought he would get what he wanted, Jimin pulled out scissors she had stolen from his restaurant. The next moment, she took away his weapon. Fatty bled out and died by the roadside. His car, the same one that hit Jimin, was plastered with Princess Aurora stickers. Seeing this, The man knew the killer was his wife, but as a husband and father, he understood her actions. She was fighting to bring justice for their dead daughter. In the end, he chose to keep her secret. Jimin got into a taxi. The driver was the same man who had once abandoned her daughter on the street. As soon as she sat her down, Jimin pulled out a piece of chewing gum and popped it into her mouth. It was her daughter's gum wrapper that had recorded the car's information, making it possible to find this driver so easily. Then, she asked the driver if a 6-year-old child wanted to take a taxi alone to go home. Would you take them? Without hesitation, he said, of course. A child is still a person. Jimin pressed on. But what if the child doesn't have enough money? Just 2,001 short. Would you still take them home? At that, the driver's face changed suddenly. He started pushing Jimin, trying to force her out of the car. Suddenly, as if possessed, she began speaking in her dead daughter's voice, taunting the driver. He couldn't take it anymore. He rushed to the passenger seat, trying to pull her out, but just as he opened the door, Jimin pulled out a stun gun. She shocked him unconscious. Then, Jimin drove to a remote, steep slope. She wrapped a plastic bag over the driver's head, bound his hands tightly to the steering wheel, and walked to the back of the car. With a gentle push, the car rolled down the hill. In panic, the driver used up all the oxygen inside the bag. He finally suffocated to death. Everyone who indirectly caused her daughter's death had now been killed, but the key people were still alive. One was the mastermind, the wealthy heir who had humiliated her daughter to death. He was hiding in a psychiatric hospital, under tight security. Jimin had little chance there. That left only one person, the corrupt lawyer who forged the psychiatric report and helped the heir escape justice. When the police got the news, they immediately contacted the lawyer and rushed to his home, but they were too late. Jimin had already struck again. Using her charm, she had kidnapped the lawyer first. The captain asked the man where his ex-wife would take the lawyer. The man hesitated, then thought today was both their daughter's birthday and the anniversary of her death. If Jimin hadn't gone to the cemetery, there was only one other place she'd go, the site where their daughter died, the largest landfill in Seoul. The police mobilized immediately, rushing to the landfill. Sure enough, the man and the lawyer were there. The lawyer was suspended in midair, surrounded by a crowd of onlookers. Media swarmed the scene. With the situation tense, the police sent the man forward to calm Jimin down. On the edge of collapse, Jimin accused her ex-husband and everyone who indirectly caused her daughter's death. To her, they were all killers, including herself. During their tense exchange, the Washington team seized their chance. They stealthily climbed the crane from behind, released smoke grenades, and successfully captured Jimin. The corrupt lawyer escaped unscathed. Days later, the media announced the court's verdict. Jimin was sentenced to life imprisonment for intentional murder, but considering her motive and the signs of psychosis during the crimes, she was sent to a psychiatric hospital. Seeing the news, her ex-husband finally understood. Jimin's earlier psychotic episodes were not just grief for their daughter, they were a tactic to get close to the wealthier hiding in the mental hospital. He immediately found Jimin, told her he had resigned, and handed her a Bible. That night, Jimin opened the Bible. Inside was her daughter's favorite Princess Aurora sticker. In the back cover's hidden compartment, she found a tiny blade. The next day, during a group event, Jimin smiled, fixing her gaze on the wealthy heir. She walked toward him, whispering her identity in his ear. The man panicked, but the next second, Jimin raised the blade and struck coldly. She watched the killer bleed until his blood drowned the Aurora sticker on the table. Justice for her daughter was finally served. Jimin decided it was time to join her daughter. The lawyer who escaped death breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing Jimin's death. Unbeknownst to him, a car was closely tailing him. The driver was Jimin's ex-husband. The cross on the car, symbolizing redemption, witnessed his true salvation. What the lawyer didn't expect was that the luxury car he bought with dirty money was already covered in Princess Aurora stickers.